Good. First of all, good morning, everyone. I know it's probably hard after last night's Hawaiian party shirts and so on. I would just like to thank all the Dutch people in the room over here for the warm welcome again. Also last time in Noordwijk was really good. And you might wonder what are these things over here, but I will tell you later. We'll see. Well, this is my energy for today. Yeah, these things over here. Yeah, maybe you recognize the flag, some of you. But it's a Romanian special thing. Let's call it like that. All right, so topic of today, modernization in one word, I would say. And I would like to ask first, how many of you are in like a modernization process with your applications? Good for you. How many would like to be in a modernization process? Even better, even better. We are getting more and more. So I will be sharing some of my insights working on several modernization projects today. And I will get around different types of approaches in terms of modernization depending on the need that you have within your applications. I will just go shortly with a quick intro of myself. So I am Gabriel Lucaciu. I'm working for Yonder for already 17 years. Yonder is a technology development partner for a lot of customers. And we started initially with Progress Open Edge 30 years ago, something like that. So this year we have like 30 years of software development. Actually, we're like the first outsourcing company in Transylvania, if you know about Dracula, some of you. So I'm from 17 years working with Open Edge, and I'm a proud father of 2 kids. Yesterday was my daughter's birthday, so I celebrated over here with the guys the party, and looking forward to be home, also partying over there. Yeah, I actually worked on, I think, 5-6 modernization projects until now. So I will start sharing you some of the insights from there. As I mentioned, a bit about Yonder. We have 30 years of experience, 350 plus engineers. We have both 2 offices in Romania, one in Cluj and one in Iași. We also have one sales office in Utrecht. So this is who we are. We are now part of a big group called Constellation from Canada. And in parallel, we have like 50 collaborations per year that are running. We have standards that we apply every year, like ISO 27001, 9001. So if you need any insights about those things, you can also reach me. It's really interesting to get through these ones. And we have a client satisfaction in average or 4.30 out of 5, let's say, which is a really good number, especially when it comes to Dutch, because I know they are the most critical ones when giving grades, let's say. So about modernization, why should we do it? There are good reasons, there are bad reasons, as we can see over there. If we start with the good reasons, of course, it's about costs. First of all, that's where all the things are started. So you start to have a lot of costs, and it's really, really expensive to keep your legacy application. So that's a really good reason why to modernize. Your system becomes slow and less productive compared to the competition, for example. That's also one of the things. You start to have lack of skills. Let's just think about Progress Open Edge. Character UI, for example. Nobody would like to start working on that these days. And yeah, of course, there are unsupported platforms that are coming. It takes lot to ship it to the market. It's hard to integrate with other systems or other technologies and so on. So these are like the good reasons. Some of the bad reasons, probably there are more over here, but I just put like two that I saw that are very often. So you just want to replace the technology with a new technology, which is a fancy one in trend and so on. So there's not a really good reason. It needs to be like also like a business reason in behind. And also developers who like to experiment. Hey, I like to try out also this new technology and so on. So these are, let's say, the reasons that I would say the good reasons, for example, just focus on those ones, why you will need to modernize. We like to call this modernization like a lifecycle extension, right? What is actually the scope of it? Is to bring your application, your products, in line with the business requirements of today. So that will be the main reason of why you would modernize. Why would you extend the life of your product? And just think about the life of a product, right? We know the life cycle stages through which the products are going. You know, we have the introduction in which you have just few early adopters, you know, creating awareness between users and so on. Then the interest grows and grows, and also the application is growing because there are more demands in terms of functionalities. Hey, I would like this to have, and so on. And then somehow it becomes mature, the application. It has a lot of features. It satisfies a lot of users, and then somehow it reaches its peak point. After a while, as we mentioned, those good reasons why would you modernize, it starts to decline. So when it starts to decline, what do we need to do? So you just think about how to extend the life of the application. Are you familiar with this concept over here? So if we think about types, let's say, of strategies of modernization, you need to consider, let's say, your business needs that you have, if your application is meeting currently the business needs, but also think about the cost pressure. For example, how big is the pressure on cost, but also the pressure on features that are being demanded by your customers. For example, if your application meets the current business needs and there is not a high cost pressure, well, you don't really need to do anything about it in terms of modernizing it. You just add new features, satisfy the needs of the users, and life moves on. But for example, if the costs are start to pressure on you because of different reasons, you might need to see why is that happening. Maybe your infrastructure is too heavy and you need to work around it. So you need to think about how can I do to transform my application, not really to modernize it, but you need to transform to somehow lower the costs of it. If your application doesn't meet the business needs, then you really start to even though there is not a high cost pressure at this moment, which is a really good point in which you are, but it starts to not meet the business needs, then you need to think about how can I modernize it? What can I do with it to still be in line with the business needs of today? So in the worst case, let's say in which your application doesn't meet the business needs and there is a really high cost pressure, it might be a good point in which you can think about how to replace the application, maybe with a new product, the one that really satisfies the current needs of your users. So if we think about the competition, right, because that's also one of the things that influences what we are going to do with our application. There are different battlegrounds that you have. First of all, in the past, let's say, when we all were comfortable with, it was mainly the system of records, right? The focus was on the data that you have, gathering the data and working with it. That was the only focus of those times. We have ERPs, CRMs, and so on. So this is where it was the battleground. But then the pressure started, new technologies came, and then we have like the system of engagement, how to keep your users engaged, how to provide the best experience for them on working with the applications. So that's called system of engagement. And yeah, we had the web apps, the mobile apps, the chatbots, and so on that you can have into the application. Then this creates engagement with your users. So that's the next level, let's say, of competition that you can have. And the new level, which nowadays becomes more and more in trend, is the system of intelligence, in which you have machine learning support, you have business intelligence, business analytics, which provides you power to decide normally. That's, in the end, the main goal. What do I do with my business? In which direction should I go? And in that point, this part over here with the data becomes more and more and more important. So this is, let's say, these are the level of battlegrounds that you can have with your competitors, for example. Now, if we think about how to approach all these things, of course, we have effort that we need to put into modernize. We have the risks that we expose when we are doing this. So there are different kind of strategies that you can do. First of all, you can just improve your existing application. Okay, what do I need to do to just be in line with the needs of the users? Maybe I can just do some small things which still keeps the application wanted by the users, meets the business needs of them, and that would be it. The next level would be the duct tape, in which, okay, there are small parts in the application that actually need some tweaks, and you start exposing some APIs from your application, integrating with other applications and systems. So this will be, let's say, the next step that you can do. Again, when the effort increases, but also the risks increases, as you can see, there is a gradual replacement of your application. So we have the app, we have splitting up into multiple modules, but we also have different type of users. So there are multiple ways in which you can gradually replace the application. This is my favorite, let's say, in which the risk is not the highest. There is a risk over there, but it's somehow controlled. So you can migrate only few of your users, for example, to a different application or to a mobile app, which are for your users that are on the ground, for example. And you really start replacing bits and bits of your application. And in the end, maybe your application doesn't even have any sense to keep it, for example. Of course, the most riskiest one and with the biggest effort, it is the big bang, in which you want to just rewrite the whole application with a different paradigms, with different technologies and so on. So this is very risky. It's a really big effort. And it depends a lot on your application, how complex it is, how big it is, if this can be a success or not, let's say. Normally for smaller ones, which are not really complex and not that heavy, this can also be a solution. But I will tell you a bit later how can we realize all these kind of approaches. What could be some methods to do it? So I was telling you about all these things over here. Now is the time. So I will have a question about each kind of approach, and I would like you to to think about it. What would be the approach? What does it mean? So the first one, it's called lipstick on the pig. Any ideas how to translate this into modernization of the application, let's say?
Is it changing the front end to look different, but in the back it's still the old same thing?
Oh, good for you. Yes, well, we will see. The next one is the Frankenstein approach.
It's a mix-up of everything.
Yeah.
Lots of different parts that don't really work very well together.
All right. We will see if it is like that or not. So things are getting harder and harder, right? From now. What do you think about strangler fig? And there is a tree over there, and there are all those things that are growing around it. Anyone? Hey, I don't want to eat the chocolate because I have too much sugar in my blood. Come on. We need to think about something. So there is like a huge tree over there in the middle, and there are a lot of small ones that are growing, new ones that are growing around it. If we are thinking about applications, how would we think? No? Okay, I will keep it over there. Next one. I will get back to it, by the way. Washing machine. You can be creative. It doesn't need to be the right answer, by the way. No one is courageous to say. Who? Cleanup? Code cleanup or what? So this is for you, Wim.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I think it's a good answer if we can think about it. And we have on-life support.
Well, that one is just doing the minimum to keep it running, but you don't do anything new, don't write anything additional, just keep it running.
Well, you can give it to someone else, to one of your friends over here then. And last but not least, product bait. No. Okay, so we still have two left over here. We will see what are the, let's say, not the truth, but what is my opinion, let's say. Yeah? That's a good question. And probably there's not a right answer for that, I would say. Thank you. Okay, so no one from the product bait? No one had like mices at home and they should put things to... What do you do? Other better. So you do other... Mm-hmm. And that's a really interesting point of view. We'll see if that's well what it means. Of course, is not doesn't mean that this is the truth that I put over here, but these are some approaches that we experienced, and we saw that it worked in different kind of situations. Let's say. So lipstick on the pig. What is this? I think, as our colleague mentioned over here, is that you have your application, you don't touch any functionality of it, any things of it, you just make it look different. You know, and when do you do this? When there is a customer pressure to innovate, to have a fresh application, I want to look at something different. I want a change, let's say. So that's when you can do it. You have a legacy application, but you don't have budget for it to modernize it and make it look and function in different ways. So as you mentioned, just another coat of paint, making it look modern, but nothing actually changes. It's just engaging the users to have a pleasant way of working, let's say. And why to do it? Well, you just buy more time, you keep your users engaged, they got something fresh, so it's something that works, actually. I had a lot of customers coming to us, hey, what can I do with this application? I don't have too much money, competition is pressing, and what should I do? Well, just do this. And in all cases, it worked. It worked, and it buy them around 2 years to prepare for what is going to come, something like that. We were telling about Frankenstein. What was that? Is, as our colleague mentioned over here, sort of a mix. You have your application, and then you start to change it bits by bits. You know, it's in the end sort of a mix. You have a desktop mixed with web, with some APIs. So it's like a mix of everything, just to have like to have a bit of more time in order in the end to make like a gradual replacement or a big bang or so on. Why you would do it? To also transmit a message to the customer. They can see a change. Yes, that's what we are doing. We are heading into that direction, but yeah, it just takes time, you know. So again, if there is a pressure to innovate, if you need to run your both application like in parallel, you are switching from desktop to web, how you are doing this. And also, as I mentioned, the scope is very big. It just takes time to be able to modernize everything. Now, let's see about the washing machine. Our colleague Wim over there said like cleaning up the code. That's also a point of view on how to see. We think about washing machine like putting the code, of course, into the washing machine, but it gets out like a fresh thing, right? Which smells nice, you know, and it looks nice and it looks cleaner. So actually it's like generating from the current code that you have the new screens that you would have into your new application. So in order to speed up the migration modernization process, you can think of how can I automate as much as possible of this process and not to just make use of the developers, you know, to make screens which maybe look one-on-one in the end or something like that. So those are actually when to do it, when the scope is huge, you have a lot of screens, but they are similar screens, so just think about patterns that you can use in order to speed up your process and automate as much as possible. Now, on live support, I think our colleague mentioned about, okay, just keep it running, just keep it still. So you have to pass to some of your colleagues the chocolate. So again, for example, some technologies are discontinued, like Flash. It just is not supported anymore by browsers. What should I do? So you need to find ways, like for example, like Electron or other stuff that can help you out to still continue with your application, but work on your pure modernization strategy on the big one. So again, it buys time, it saves your business. You are not like shut down from that moment. It's also a message. Hey, we are working on it. For now, you can still work with it, but we have a strategy to modernize it. Product bait. I think the colleagues were really, really close to this. What do? You don't actually do anything with your current application, but you just have an additional product, like a companion app or something for your application, which is new, which is fresh, but you still have your big app over there, which you still can sell it to the users, but you just give this additional module, which is on mobile, for example, or any other thing. So this works really good also. If you find those users that you can identify around which to build that small product bait, let's say. So this would be another kind of approach. And let's think about that challenging last one called Strangler Fig. And our colleagues are really, really, really correct. So you have your main application, which is the big tree, around which you build some interfacing capabilities around your application, and then you start creating apps for your type of users, personas, right? So in the end, the tree dies. So it just remains the interfacing between all your applications. So this is my favorite, let's say, strategy that paid a lot of results, for example. And of course, it's a thing on long term, but it gives results on short term. So this is a really, really well thing. Again, the same pressure to innovate. You have different type of users using your application. So just identify what kind of application you would need for your kind of users. So this would be something to think about. Now, if you put it on the graph that we initially saw, on improve existing, what do you think it's over here? On improving your existing application, what of the strategies that we just see? Lipstick on the pig? Oh, no, life support. That's the first one. Yeah, of course. Well, you just need to keep your app going, and then that should be the minimum effort that you would need to put into. And yeah, of course, the next one will be the lipstick on the pig. Again, not that much effort, but hey, you have a fresh look, let's say. Now, Frankenstein is somewhere between duct tape and gradual replacing, because that's actually in the end the scope of it. The product bait, well, it's not really a replacing, it's actually a new product which requires investment, and that normally takes around the same effort or more compared with Frankenstein. And here is the strangler fig, which doesn't involve too much risk because you are just replacing smaller bits of your application. So you can try out the market. You can see, okay, does this product works? Yes, great, I ship it. Then, does this one works? Yes, great, I ship it. And in the end, your middle product, the tree, is redundant. You don't need it anymore. But of course, in the beginning, it's like a small effort. But after you replace your whole application, then the effort becomes more, of course. That will be the end result. But initially, it's like a smaller effort to do this. And of course, the washing machine is when you want to make like a big bang. I want to rewrite everything. I want to replace everything. So I just find out the patterns and put the code and spill out a fresh code out, a fresh application out. So you can really think about how to generate screens out of your current application. Now, thinking about a comparison between this is what you can, if you think about different topics, this is what the success rate looks like, the costs look like, and all the risks that are involved. Now, if we think about the duct tape, let's say, as I mentioned, if you can put like and communicate with your current application and expose some APIs and so on through your existing code, so you don't need to rewrite your code, you just use the code that is over there, then you can really build you can really start building your next application. And if you are thinking about the gradual replacement, for example, then you just hit your database. You don't need to look at your APIs anymore. You just create microservices to your database, create new apps for the personas that we just discussed, so for your type of users. And yeah, that would be a way to do it. Just want to go a bit back to this comparison over here. Just think about what kind of modernization it is actually in all these stages. So, of course, the Big Bang and the gradual replacement are the high ones, which there is also high effort, but in some cases there is a lower risk, and in some cases there is a higher risk. So if you just check over here on the risk severity, although the modernization is high on the gradual replacement, the risk is moderate. So you need to consider all these kind of aspects, but of course also the funding, as I mentioned, for the Strangler fig, my favorite. The funding is high over there, but actually in the beginning is moderate one. So you only invest a few at the beginning to get your first product out. And then in the end, of course, if you get more and more and more application around it, you just create like a platform, then the investment becomes high. On the Big Bang, we noticed that the success rate is kind of moderate. Not for everyone is a success. It's really a game to not encounter many issues while doing it, and because you need to put like a lot of effort into it. And as I mentioned, that's why it's not that popular actually nowadays. So I don't just take my whole application and within 2-3 years I'm going to get a new one, and that's what I'm going to share with my users. So that would be, let's say, a comparison between these ones. Which are your favorites? I said mine is Wrangler Fig. Do you have any ones out of these ones? Mine was also lipstick on the pig first. I can recognize myself because it's something fast that you can do, for your users, and they are really happy. It was such positive feedback after just changing the CSS of the front end, and it just looked nice, different, cleaner. And then the users were like, wow, this is a fresh new app that I got. Well, just think about Teams. Well, not the best experience with it, but they are doing actually this. They are just keeping the same functionalities, keeping everything. They are just changing the UI. They are just making it look a bit different. And yeah. No, mainly I'm taking into account the business success. So not from the technical point of view, but the business success of shipping your application and really pays off, in the end. That's what I'm referring to. From technical point of view, well, maybe it works, for example, but it takes you like 3-4 years, to migrate everything. And then maybe you are already far behind your competition just because of that. It just takes a lot of time. I think that's the biggest thing, let's say. As I mentioned, if it's like a small application, it might worth it. If you can also use like a washing machine approach, then maybe you can already win like 50% of your application if it's a not that complex one, for example. So it's as I mentioned, it's like takes lots of time. By the way, any questions until now from anyone? Yeah. Okay. I'm curious, how was it perceived by your users after making this kind of lipstick on the pig? So less clicks, for example, Yeah. It really pays off, let's say, at least on short time, as you mentioned. So if you are thinking about doing the lipstick on the pig, it might buy you like, I think, max 2 years, because after that again they will complain in the same thing like with the old app, even though it's actually the same app. But it just buys you time to start moving to the next phases. If you are in the critical point in which your competition is creating a really big pressure on you. So some tools also that you can also use, for example, for the UI. The Unite UX from Progress is a really nice one. It has a plugin for Figma. You can export the assets like the CSS, for example, that you can directly use into your application. Also, the web app, you can generate actually Telerik and Kendo UI web components that you can use into your application, which is really, really good. A nice thing that you can do, for example. So, and it's from Progress, which is really cool. Again, if we are thinking in terms of what kind of frameworks you could use, especially on OpenEdge, for example, there are plenty of them. Maybe you can even want to build your own one, for example. But these are some of the ones that we experienced and we analyzed to be worthwhile to look into. But again, it will depend on the kind of modernization that you want to do to choose some of these. There are even some open source ones that you might want to look into, or just ask for help for the guys over there. So, yeah, in the end, it would be to choose the modernization option that you think it works for your application. The success rate of modernization depends a lot on the analysis that you are doing in the front. There are a lot of companies that we saw that just want to start doing it, and that's not really good. Just start putting effort into analysis first, and choose which kind of modernization option works from you from here, and in the end it will pay the effort. So that is about it. Any other questions or any other approaches that you have from these ones, like our colleagues shared from there? You said that some of you are in like modernization process over here. What kind of approach are you using?
That we have right now is a little bit of everything. Maybe strangler thing, because we have an old product, old character, old database, but we rewriting it in SOA and starting to convert the database slightly while still running in production from both sides.
So you still have both of the products communicating with each other through the database, but they are each doing, let's say, its own thing. But so the new app is doing something from the old one, or is then that's the strangler fig in that case. Anyone else that is doing modernizations nowadays? Yeah.
Actually, we are between Frankenstein and washing machine.
Between Frankenstein and washing machine. That's interesting.
We put new components in our old application. Sometimes instead of doing only a new component, we take the old one and we make a big one with that.
And it's like a modular migration, something like that? Yeah?
Sometimes we can take a module and rewrite it.
Well, I can just say that it will take time if you are doing it like that. So you really need to have a strong point of doing it and a good estimation, at least, I would say, to just think about how much time would take all this, or how fast I can ship it to the market. Another, let's say, lesson that I got from all these types of modernizations is, like, for example, if you are going with a strangler fig approach or the product bait approach, if you are doing like a mobile application that you want to stick to your current one, you need to ship it in like 6 months. That's your first version of the application, I would say. So if within the 6 months you don't ship it, it just became too late. I was reading like a really nice article that it said, if you're really happy about the application that you first time shipped, it's too late. And somehow it made sense, because you cannot know from the start what your users need, what they want, you just need to tease them, and they will come and they will build the product together with you. So that's with the mobile app, for example, and with the web app, what we learned that should be between 9 and 12 months, something like that. So between 9 and 12 months, if you don't ship it, then again, it's too late. I had a really tough customer that I tried to convince him this, and I didn't manage to convince him. And after 1 year and a half developing on his first version of the application, the competition already launched something else, and he was too late at that moment. So that was one of the lessons that he was sorry. I told him, well, you should listen to us, because we saw so many fails, but also so many successes. So this is what we learned from all this.
Our approach is to do an iterative approach, so we take it by function. And we want to first replace the functionality of a certain part, which may touch on a lot of different modules.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of only taking one module and bringing that to the new app, we take a function and do a little bit of development across all or some of those modules.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as we look at the next functionality,
Mm-hmm.
we may need to revisit again and work a little bit more on some of those modules.
Mm-hmm.
And with this iterative approach, we bring the functionality to the new functionality.
This sounds like strength figure approach, in which you are thinking in terms of functions, in terms of users, in terms of type of users that you want to migrate. Because even if you migrate like a module, or who is going to use that module, But if you migrate like a flow of a user, then yes, that user can't use your new application. Otherwise, we need to just switch between applications, which is not a really good experience, I can say. So that's a really, really good approach, I would say. But again, I think the answer is here that depends. It depends on a lot. Users, ecosystems, dependencies, and all the things about what kind of approach you should use. Any other questions, thoughts? Then I can just say success with your modernization projects to everyone, the ones that you already have, the ones that you plan to have. And for any questions, that feel free to reach out to me, and I'm more than welcome to share, again, some of my thoughts around it. Then have a nice day.